and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, for the first time on camera, Jose Romero.
What up, everybody? Inaugural YouTube
Inaugural.
show of Nerdsplaining. Very
This is it. This is
excited.
this is what nerds look like.
Oh, they may look
Unless you've
better.
never
They
had
may
to
look
before,
better
and then
to
you
be
would know.
honest with you. I don't know. I don't want to undersell the nerds out there.
Oh, this is like a pilot episode. We're just learning, so it's gonna be some trials and errors. But the important thing is that me and Jose have appealed to nobody, and that's the important thing. I think that's our nerd cred right off the cuff, right there.
That's fair. I can live with
Yeah,
that. But before we get started, Eric, what is
yeah.
Nerdsplaining?
All right. Well, nerdsplaining is basically in a world where nerd stuff has taken over, whether it's TV, movies, books, video games, the whole thing. There's a lot of people who want to know, why do people think this is important? Why do people give a crap about that? Who's that person? Can I know more about that? Jose knows everything that's gonna come out, and I know all the nerd stuff that the things that are coming out are based off. So Jose gives us all the nerdy news nuggets about what's coming out, what to expect, what to be excited about, and then I explain why anything he cares about is important. It's a symbiotic relationship, a Peter Parker and a Venom, a parasite on a whale, a cokehead and his dealer. It goes both ways, and one can't survive without the other, and that is what nerdsplaining is.
I was gonna say peanut butter and jelly, but yeah, very established. That's
Listen,
fine. I can live with that.
peanuts are killing people. Let's stick with Coke.
Fair enough. And on that note, let's get started, man. We got a lot of cool little nerd nuggets. We are gonna do a Masters of the Universe spoiler, keyword spoiler
Complete
review, right?
breakdown of the first half of a
The
series,
first
not the full, just the first half.
Yeah, and as you know, there's a lot of controversy, and we have our own opinions on that. We'll share
Exactly.
that shortly. We hold nothing back here. Let's just get that
No.
straight. We're 100% real, good or bad. In Eric's
Yeah.
case, mostly bad, but hey, I love the
And
guy.
in Jose's case, no class. But whatever.
Again, that's a fair statement. Let's get rolling here.
I
'Cause
speak truth.
you do. Yeah, okay, you do. I'll give you that. Let's get into it real quick, because we got, actually, this is the breaking, let's say breaking news is not quite the right word, but
Well. Wait. If we're gonna talk, so we have to explain, guys. A segment we affectionately refer to as the nerdy news nuggets.
that's right.
A little feast of little tidbits of things to feed off of, to get excited about. Jose preps it up. I serve it on a platter. So Jose, give us those nerdy news nuggets.
Here we go. The first nugget, of course, is the unexpected release of the trailer for the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel. Now, that's not really a reboot and all that. So a lot of goodies here, man. This trailer dropped. I liked the first trailer that came out a
Reboot.
while back. Not just a reboot, because they're using some of this. It's based off the characters from the original, Ghostbusters *84. So I guess it's almost like
It's
a sequel.
soft. It's like a soft. It's like, just in case
That's
you
fair.
didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
soft reboot.
Like
Definitely.
Force Awakens. It's a soft reboot.
Sure.
It's like a sequel, but it's not. Yeah, that's.
Exactly. And I don't think it has anything to do with the last Ghostbusters.
Oh no, not at all.
God, I hope not.
In fact, all the lady Ghostbusters have taught us is that Ghostbusters was pushing multiverses before any of us knew what that was. If you're a normal person, so if you're like, what happened to those ladies? Variants.
Where's Loki? We need him. So, Eric, what do you think about this trailer here?
Dude, I've been excited, like, for instance, the teaser trailer where you just saw the car in the farm. Like, that's how I've been excited about it. I even got excited, I believe it was like during the pandemic, where they showed you that little like teaser scene where all the little Stay Puft Marshmallow Mens were getting out of the supermarket, and it was they're attacking Paul Rudd. Like, I was like, this is cool. I like that. Like, and nothing about this doesn't feel right. And once again, this trailer is more confident in my initial decision. I'm like, this is good. I like it. They seem to be paying tribute to the original too, and the story's leading forward, but it's a different world, clearly. I want to see what's going to happen next. I'm excited to see Finn Wolfhard. I like Paul Rudd. I like the little nerdy girl who seems to be the Egon of the series. I like the fact the one car has features that was never shown in the movie, but if you collected the toy, that's what it did. So I was like, that's cool. I like that whole side compartment flip out when you come out with the with the ecto the streams, and so I'm excited. I hope I don't regret it, but I'm excited about what I'm seeing. It's not getting you interested. It's reassuring your fears, and it's letting you know at the very least we're gonna pull off decent, and that's what a trailer should be. Sometimes the trailer kind of over delivers, like oh my god, and then you get Matrix 2. So you got to be very careful about how you sell. And they're like a smart poker player. They're just show you enough to let you know. I think they got a hand. So I don't know, but I feel confident about it.
Yeah, on that note, I'm not going all in per se, but I'm definitely staying
Right.
in the hand. I like what I saw, man. I know that little, well, they didn't have cameo at the end of the trailer. I don't know if that was Peter Venkman or that was Ray's
That
character. I
that
wasn't quite sure.
that was Ray.
Was it
That
Ray?
was Ray.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people thought it was Peter, but either
That
way,
no, it's Dan Aykroyd. It's Ray. He kind of saw a little bit of the gut too, and I just heard I know Dan Aykroyd's voice. I've seen a lot of his movies,
mhm.
so I was like, that's yeah. I mean, there's only two white guys, and one black guy who are left who are alive from the original Ghostbusters. They showed you Janine; she was
Oh, that's
there.
true. Yes, yeah. Uh-huh.
So, but I don't think Winston has showed up yet. I hope he does. I'd love to see him. He was in he kind of closed off the Lady Ghostbusters at the end. Remember where she was the uncle of what's her name,
Yeah, I try to forget.
Leslie
I
Jones
try to
character.
forget that movie to be honest with you. But
Listen,
I get it.
I always say the best thing about the movie also is an indictment of why it's bad, which is it's a comedy with like four of the funniest female improv comics in it, like doing it today, and the funniest scenes went to Chris Hemsworth, who's an action star. Like that's if you want to go like what was wrong with that movie, that's what's wrong in the movie.
Yeah,
Like so, and I feel so as long as they keep it structured, I want to see everybody. I want to I want to see. I mean, everyone wants to see Bill Murray, obviously, but the whole like they showed you a little bit of Slimer in this one. So I mean, I feel like as long as they play it straight, not like but it like just like look, this is all of it makes sense in their world that I'm in.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's really good. I think it comes out in October, if I'm not mistaken.
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving? Oh,
November.
well, there you go.
Yep.
So, okay, hopefully, I hope it's a hit, man. I'm
If
looking
you need
forward to it. I'm
something
a fan of the
to
franchise.
avoid, I don't know what variant of the coronavirus will be around by Thanksgiving, but if you need a break from your family, this is it.
This is good. Everybody hold off the whole theater experience for now, I guess, potentially. But let's move on
Or you
here.
get like headphones and block them out. I mean, that's it's perfectly fine.
We got another interesting nugget that got released a couple of days ago, and we talked about this before. And I'll say this: it's good to be the king. It really is. And I'm referring to one Ben Affleck because not only does he get to ride J Lo again, he gets to ride the new Batmobile or Batpod, I guess. I'm sorry, which was they released some images on Twitter showing us the new Batsuit. We got the new Bat Cycle. We saw before pictures of Supergirl and of course 1989's Batmobile, of course Michael Keaton's version. Me and Eric, we talked about Keaton having potentially a prominent role in the film, and
Oh
that got us
man,
excited to begin with. But
we bask in the glory of Keaton.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So you see this, and you saw the images and all that. It looks super cool, man. I was already excited for this film, and I actually like Ben Affleck as Batman. I think the consensus is although the movies weren't great, he was good as the role of Batman.
Right,
So
right.
this gets the juiced up, man. I just listen. If you're a nerd, if you're not excited for this film, I don't know what to do for you. I really don't, because it's all looking great, man. What do you think, Eric?
First of all, I have a little bit of point of contention with you comparing J Lo to like a Batmobile. Everyone knows that J Lo is a dragon, and you are merely a flea who's holding on for dear
I'm
life.
just
She
saying,
she is a
listen,
she's a force of nature. She's not a
Ben,
vehicle. Like
ben Affleck, Ben
you said,
Affleck is living the dream right now. Let's just
he
call it what
is.
it
He
is,
is.
right? It's mad respect
Oh,
right
only Ben
now.
Affleck can have a third renaissance
For
of who he
seriously.
is. There was the initial Goodwill Hunting, and then there was when he messed that up. And he came back as a writer director, and then that fell to garbage. And now he's coming back like on his own terms. Listen, I had a family and I love them, but that's not who I am. I tried drinking. That's not good for me. I'm gonna give this JLo thing one more shot and see what happens there. But you know what? F it. I'm gonna go be Batman too. It's a rerun of everything I've ever done. It's a highlight reel, and it's good for him. I, the photos was kind of interesting because they didn't have they showed the stunt double wearing his costume,
Right,
so it
of
wasn't
course, yeah.
really him.
Of course not.
But they also he wasn't the costume didn't have a cape, which is obviously that means that cape is got to be either CG or they're gonna have to do a thing where maybe he taps like his bat symbol and then the cape just busts out. I don't know how they're gonna make that work
Which is pretty
specifically.
cool, to be honest with you. But we've seen that before. I think Man of Steel also they CG'd the cape, and that looked great
Yeah,
for whatever
yeah,
it's worth.
yeah, and I mean, even if you didn't like Batman v Superman or Man of Steel, their practical or another part, but the CG effects, especially with capes when you're not wearing capes, I mean, it is flawless. Like I don't know how you can get capes right, but a mustache wrong. I don't understand, but that's that's DC for you. But yeah, I mean,
Weedon, Weedon,
overall,
Weedon.
I'm excited about what they're doing because I kind of feel like right now I feel like DC has a potential of being the George McFly of the superhero realm, which is like you've been picked on for a long time, but you're about to get to have that. Hey, you get your hands off my nerds, and just popping all the haters in the face and being a thing. I think that because of Affleck and of course the greatness of Keaton, I feel like we have that potential. The only thing that could ruin it is maybe Ezra Miller. Maybe. I mean, I know everyone loves him as Flash. I'm kind of on the fence on him sometimes. Because he's not my Barry Allen. He's playing it more like Wally West. And so, because they don't know who he is really, like, if you want to know who Barry Allen is, watch The Flash. I mean, say what you will about the CG and the crappy stories some of the seasons are involved with. Who he is as a character, they nail spot on all day, every day. So, I hope they really get a good idea what Barry is. Because if you get Barry, everyone else sinks into place. Because if not, it's everyone carrying Ezra Miller's Flash instead of the Flash jiving with everybody. And that's my one concern. But besides that, good stuff. I'm hoping to get excited. I hope that the Flash movie gets to me where the Ghostbusters trailer is.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that first trailer. I think
Yeah,
all it takes a little bit of Michael Keaton is going to be a nerdgasm throughout
I mean, yeah, I
geekdom
mean,
out in on the world. I mean, let's be honest, and I'll be one of them. I'll say it straight up. So I'm excited. Listen, and we'll stay with DC for a bit because we got other interesting news here.
okay,
And this is related to Superman, where we know J.J. Abrams was producing, this next Superman. Obviously, they're doing
right.
a black version of him. I think still doing Kal-El, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway,
The rumor is it's a Clark Kent black
right, which
version of
was
the
yeah,
story.
which we talked about. Thought it was odd because there are
Yeah,
other black Supermen in the lore, in the comic books, in the
yeah.
mythology of it.
There's two primary
Exactly.
ones. So
So there's no reason to do that. But either way, it looks now like HBO Max partnered with the production company for Michael B. Jordan. That he's going to produce a Superman, Black Superman, of course, limited series, I guess, on HBO Max, and portraying Val Zod, I guess that's going to be the character, which is one of the two Black Supermen that we just alluded
right.
to.
I
Right?
mean, there's two black Supermans in continuity. One is a guy called Calvin. I forgot his last name, but he's essentially Obama as president who happens to be Superman at the same time, which is a great take on Superman because you've never seen it like that before. And then Val Zod, he is a Superman of the multiversal Justice League. So, I mean, both of them, awesome. Like, just like you want to talk about, like, I don't want to see the same Superman again. You're not when you get a black Superman because they're so completely different on top of all the other versions of Superman out there. Um, I was a little bit first I thought it was gonna be a movie, then I found out it was gonna be a TV show, and I was a little like for like a split second I was on the fence about that, but then I started thinking like, wait a minute, I just finished watching Watchmen, and that was amazing. So as long as you utilize your platform and tell a really cool story and showing us things that we've never seen before attached to the Superman IP, especially with Michael B. Jordan, who is a legit, I don't know if he's 100% nerd, but he's definitely a nerd about Superman. Like he knows Superman lore specifically with that. In fact, there's two black Supermen with two different continuities. And so if he's bringing that level of like care and attention to it, then I think it's going to be at least a worthwhile shot because it's, I mean, let's face it, it's not TV, it's HBO. So they bring in a much better caliber of material. They're every time HBO puts out a series, there's a little part of them going, that's going to be like 5 Emmys. Like we're going to really nail this out. Like, and just for bragging rights. And
No.
I feel like if they're going to do a Black Superman, they got an eye on the prize of like, not only are we going to get Emmys, but like if J.J. Abrams' version of Black Superman one beat, they're gonna pounce all over it. They're like, look, we're better than the movies, and we're probably got like half the budget. They're probably like 100 million, so like a 200 million. You do like 8 episodes, 6 to 8 episodes, and if you are consistent to beginning to end, like The Watchmen, if you remember watching, it wasn't crazy special effects all the time. It was very well structured story that kept things going. And when they needed the effects, they really gave you what the effects should look like. You do Superman like that, you got it. I don't know how cheap you could do a multiversal Superman, but if you're smart about it, you can have something pretty amazing on your hands.
I agree. I love the decision. I like that they're going to Val Zod, right? There's this context they can do, source material they can draw from, and that's wonderful,
Absolutely.
right? And I'm not sure if I know Michael B. Jordan's been tied to this or to a Superman for it seems like for the last few years. I don't know if he's
He's
gonna
been wish listed. He's been wish listed. A lot
right.
of fan
What
casting,
he's
that
talked
kind of thing.
about,
Right.
yeah. But I don't know if he's gonna be in the film or not. I guess that remains to be seen. If he is, all the better. I think personally, I love Michael B. Jordan. It's just a weird. Like we talked before about this, Eric, and it's kind of a weird decision. I think because you got J.J. Abrams on one hand, you got the Michael B. Jordan version, and I don't. I think it's been said that the Abrams version won't be part of whatever DC plans moving forward as far as DCU,
Right.
whatever they're calling it. The Michael B. Jordan one, they haven't said anything, so I don't know. So if these two are just one-offs, I just kind of find it odd that I'm in a position where can we get the Superman we're supposed to get first, and then we can start spinning off in these other versions of it. Um, it's Warner Brothers again. No big surprise, right? This is what they do.
Well,
They're not moral, obviously, and that's been made abundantly clear. It could work. Don't get me wrong.
it's
It could work. I'm just saying, this is an odd choice to do that. But whatever the case, even your dog's agreeing with me now.
yeah. Even
Uh,
my your dogs are like, I told you, Abrams only knows how to start things. He
Damn,
doesn't know how to end
Abrams.
it. Why do we? Yeah, they're very upset. Bye, dogs.
Abrams, the franchise Viagra, if you will.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's the problem. I think we talked about it lightly with come on, dogs. I think we talked about it lightly with Warner Brothers is that they are trying so hard to nail it that they're the kind of guys who walk into a casino and bet on black and red. That like, they're covering all their bases. There is no out. Like we got it. We're gonna break even one way or the other. And I you know, here's the thing. We talked about this. J.J. Abrams knows how to start a franchise. He knows how to kick off
oh
the
yeah,
story. Like
that's clear.
so, but he can't dismount. If his dismount is proportionate to everything else that he's ever produced or directed or been involved with, and Michael B. Jordan sticks the landing, it's a wrap. Michael B. Jordan becomes continuity, and J.J. Abrams' version is a one-off. It's like we were just trying to think. It becomes Lady Ghostbusters. That's what happens. If
Oh
he
god.
cannot stick the landing, it becomes Lady Ghostbusters. It's going to be ignored, and they're going to default all in with Valzad.
I I'm not a huge Abrams fan, but I gotta imagine he's gotta do better than Lady Ghostbusters. I just can't see. Listen, maybe people out there like that film. Great, good for you, but Jesus, that comedy, and I use the term very loosely, is not very good. But let's see, look, fingers crossed. We want a good Superman. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Always.
Yeah, and Balzad's a cool character, so why not get it right? We're good with that.
If you leave it with a post credit scene of the multiversal Justice League, like recruit him, oh my God, that'd be great.
No, I like you're right.
That'd be so
There's a
awesome.
lot of
But
possibilities. Let's see what direction they take at the
yeah,
end of the day.
right.
That being said, that ends our nuggets for this week.
Okay.
So that being said, the main course is about to be served, and of course that
Yes, yes.
comes in the form of Masters of the Universe. Of course, a lot of controversy here, which we'll get to in a second. But I will say this: we'll talk about the series first, right?
All right.
Because I know this series we both were looking forward to it, and 5 episodes out of 10. Let's make that perfectly
Right.
clear. Were released on Netflix over the weekend. We both ended up watching all 5 episodes, and for me, I think you agree. This was a big win for Netflix, and big win for the show.
I think so.
Yeah, Kevin
I
Smith
think so.
produced it, wrote, directed some of the episodes, what have you. He was the brainchild behind it, if I'm not mistaken. But and I gotta say, listen, and this I
Yeah.
think part of the controversy.
Yeah. And I mean,
Go ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead, Eric.
yeah. Here's the thing: when the main decided to hire Kevin Smith for the show, he specifically said, and this guy I've listened to Kevin Smith's podcast, Time and Beyond. Check it out, guys. Good stuff. Entire that it's not just toys on shelves. Like I have a little bit here, and you got some stuff behind you there. He has entire rooms with full scenes with lighting and like dry ice effects. Like this guy goes all out, and he works for Mattel, so he's not just a crazy fan. He's a guy who's involved intimately in the business of like, this is an IP that I happen to love, but this is how do we move this IP forward to the next gen? And he told Kevin Smith, he's like, when I was growing up, I thought every episode was the episode that Skeletor was going to kill He-Man because I was little and I was dumb and didn't know any better. And as I got older, I realized this is never going to happen. But make me a show that makes me feel like I did as a kid when I thought Skeletor could kill He-Man. Spoiler alert, in this series they killed twice. So obviously that was a mandate that he pushed in hard. But like all of it made sense. Like here's the thing. I've heard people complain about the series, and we're going to get into the specifics of the episode and whatnot. But I've heard people like get mad about the show, like you ruined my childhood and everything else. I'm like, what did you want? Like you're between the most of us are like between 35 to like 45. That's the people with the girls too, but primarily it was a boys cartoon that you saw like 3 years worth, and it was always these very cookie cutter, very simple episodes. Like, what did you want? Did you want more of that? Because then you would have hated it. Like, oh, if I wanted this, I would have seen just the old Funimation episodes. Like, so what do you want? Like, they literally, what they're doing is, hey, you spent all this time knowing about He-Man. And we know the world revolves around He-Man. He-Man is Eternia's Superman. Like, there is no higher. He is the Boy Scout hero, aspirational best friend, do-gooder. And what happens when you take him off the board? Like, how does everyone react off of that? And you take off Skeletor to default. Like, are you people? And I thought that was a really good take on the whole series, showing us things we've never seen before. We've never seen He-Man die. And once again, spoiler, in this one, not only you see him die twice, but in two complete different ways. And it was really, like, I loved I really did love the show. I was surprised that it ended on 5 because I had heard that it was going to be 10 episodes. But then it turns out that this is something a lot of people either didn't know or know and pretended like they did it so they can cash rage clickbait. It's a 10-episode series. It was Netflix that decided to split it at 5. They felt the ending of episode 5 was a good break. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. It's a good break because it leaves on such a massive cliffhanger. And at no point that I feel like I completely knew what was going to happen. I assumed, and I've seen enough of this stuff that I can go, okay, this is the way the story is going to go. But no point. I was surprised when they took him off the board at episode 1. I was surprised when they retook him off the board at episode 5. Everything was, and then I wasn't left mad. I want to know what's going to happen next. And so that's what you want to do with a series, is you want to give the people something new, and you want to leave them with and what happens next. And this show did exactly that. So many people are mad about He-Man not being there and Teela being the point of view character lead that they're overlooking massive things that we've never seen. We've never seen Scareglow before. We had a whole episode with him. Like that's even if you don't like He-Man, Scareglow's design alone is dope. And so you got to see that finally in cartoon in their continuity. They made Orko cool. Like how do you like? He was so sympathetic that it forced you to recontextualize his entire character into almost like a Rudy of Magix. And and anytime any character there dies, people are like, "Oh, you killed him!" And I'm like, "Guess what? They've killed Spider-Man, and they've killed Wolverine, and they've killed Tony Stark, and they've killed everybody. And you know what happens? They bring them back because that's their money makers. You tell a story to go, and then here you go, all done, and then you're like, "Oh, cool. What's gonna happen next?" And that's it. So to see grown adults freak the fuck out about this, I was actually, if this is real, it suddenly the reason why so many people don't believe the vaccine is worthy makes total sense. Because I'm like, oh, okay, logic doesn't work with your act on impulse, go. And because it's a fun series. I really enjoyed it. Is it a 5 out of 5? No, I feel like it's like a 4.5 out of 5. Like it's really good. The animation is fantastic. What did you think?
I like the show a lot. I really did, and it's funny because all the controversy surrounding the lack of He-Man or killing him off or whatever you want to say. But that's what I liked about it because the first 15 minutes of the show, I'm like, okay, it's standard
Yeah,
fair. What I thought a Masters of the Universe show would be, right? He-Man, Skeletor attacking Grayskull, He-Man comes save the day. All right, cool, great. I wasn't loving it, but all of a sudden you kill off the antagonist and protagonist at the same time. You don't see that. I was like, oh shit, okay, where we're going here. And I like, okay, and to do that, you got to be sure you're going somewhere that's going to be interesting, right? So
right.
first off, yeah, the shock of it happening. Oh shit, okay, now what would it do now? And now, okay, now giving us this world building with all these other side characters who are interesting and they make interesting, and even the world itself. They're talking about the magic, this magic disappearing now. Some people going towards technology. Very cool. Eternia being obviously going to be destroyed without magic. Tila kind of taking center stage. We got Man at Arms getting his due. Again, you mentioned Oracle, getting his due. So I like that approach. You don't see that very often. It made the show more interesting, and we still get tons of He-Man. There's He-Man presence throughout basically every episode.
He's in every episode, whether it's like the very tail end or a flashback fat in the middle or the beginning series. Like he's in every episode. So to say, oh, there's not He-Man. No, there isn't. And it's literally the He-Man that you remember from the Filmation series. Yeah. So like you have no reason to complain. And by the way, as someone who makes things for a living and tells jokes and stories and that kind of stuff, if you thought this was horrible, I'd love to hear your magical story. How do you make any? And people go, well, I don't know. That's why I watch it. Well, then you should shut the hell up, because if you can't even offer a better version of it, like whenever someone accomplishes a thing, you may not like it, it may not be your thing, but to flip out like it's the end of the world, I'm like, well, what an amazing thing if you contributed. Then if you can't parlay your fandom and your energy into creating something that moves that story forward, I mean, up until this, there was no He-Man, and now we got He-Man, and it's a really solid piece to the overall mythology that they're moving forward. And okay, so to kind of go into, we talked a little bit about episode 1. Let's kind of go into a little episode 2, because that'll lead into every episode will give us a little more information to talk about. Episode 2, it reintroduces Tila, almost like it's like 5 years later kind of thing. Yeah. And Tila is now no longer associated with the castle and King Randor. She's on her own. She's almost like an A-team merc for hire kind of situation. Her and a friend. And here I got to say this too. She has a friend called Adora, if I believe, right?
Something
is her name
like
Adora?
Something similar to that, but yes, it's her friend of hers, a tech wizard, I guess, or something.
So, they're like palling around and they're putting their arms on each other, like talking, that kind of stuff. And people are like, whoa, that's like some serious LGBT vibes. I'm like, do you guys never watch movies from the 80s and 90s when it's like two dudes? They did that all the time. And maybe you're like, well, that was gay too. We're like, no, it was just two people together, very close to your friend. If you're an adventurer and you've saved each other's lives, there's a camaraderie to that. Like me and Jose have done that with each other. We just gotten drunk together. So like there was no reason like to be like, oh, they got their arms together. Like, no, it wasn't a thing. If this is supposed to be the He-Man from the Filmation series, everyone knows that Tila is not infatuated, but she is enamored by the idea of He-Man, and she treats Adam like a little brother. And so that dichotomy shows that, okay, she likes dudes, but she likes like the greatest perfection of dudes. She has a very high standard of man. So she's like, you got to be He-Man or you ain't shit. And that's what she is. So at worst, they're saying, hey, Tila's bi. At worst, and at best, she's like, she just has a friend. Like, and I don't mean like it's bad to be gay, but I'm just saying like there's nothing there. If anything, if she's bi, they're just another level to the character. And I don't think that, I think people are looking too hard to. It's like, I talked to you about this, about like people who tried to say that that Pixar movie Luca was an analog for growing up and being gay. I'm like, no, that's just two boys becoming friends on a summer adventure. That's what it is. There was sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. You know what I mean? Like if this was like two like 20-year-olds in college and they were giving long stares with no words, yes, then that is clearly more than just a surface level. But there wasn't that in Luca, and there wasn't that in He-Man. It was Tila creating a new life for herself because she feels like everyone that she trusted had betrayed her because no one told her the secret of Adam and He-Man. And I felt that was a, and that is the episode where they explained that because He-Man and disappeared and died, magic's been cut off, and so the lack of magic is affecting everything. And it's almost like even though Tila went out, they pulled a Godfather 3 and they pulled her back in. And she had to go on this adventure to save. It's not just Castle Grayskull, it's all the planet.
The whole
because
planet, right.
Eternia needs magic.
Yeah. Even Evil Lynn, who's evil, she's working, obviously they have a mutual interest, but they're working together to try to get this job done, right?
Yeah, well, desperation makes strange bedfellows. So, and by the way, Evelyn is played by Lyanna Headey, which is also she's from Game of Thrones. She played Cersei. So if you miss Cersei, you're getting Cersei as Evelyn, which is kind of appropriate and a little awesome all at the same time. So that was really cool. And then episode 3, they reintroduce Man-at-Arms and Orko. And I thought that was also another great episode. Now that you get a really cool He-Man flashback scene between her and Tila versus Merman, and Skeletor and Evelyn, but just the episode is called "The Most Dangerous Man on Eternia," I think it is, and this is a really cool line where Evelyn even says, "In Snake Mountain, I used to tell all of Skeletor's army, look out for Man-at-Arms. He is the most dangerous man." And you get to see, it's almost like he's like Batman in a sense because he's got all the gadgets and he knows how to fight. So he's almost prepared for everything kind of thing. And you get to see even at his old age now, he's a little, kind of like, a little white in the beard.
He's weathered. How's that?
Weathered, but he's badass through and through, all across the board. And episode 3 and 4 really pushes in the idea of the tragedy of Orko, because like I said, he's like the Rudy, where he's tried his best and everyone's always laughed at him, and he took those laughs personally, but he loved his friends and being an adventurer so much that he tried to let it slide as much as he can. But it still hurt, and now that magic is gone, Orko's dying as well, and so it's almost like he's got like someone who's been in the army for too long, where he doesn't really remember specifics. It's just like moments that he remembers because it's all kind of collided together, which if you ever watch the entire He-Man series, I defy you to tell me every specific episode. Some of it just blends in, like there's a monster in a cave and then he runs like this a little bit. Yeah, so, that's how he remembers the series. But I found out this Merman, voiced by Kevin Conroy, Batman.
Yep, which we forgot to mention, we got Mark Hamill as Skeletor.
Mark Hamill Skeletor.
His version, another version of the Joker voice. Huh?
Which is the version of the Joker. But, whenever it's like, oh, Mark Hamill just sounds like a Joker, show me any other character that Mark Hamill's done that doesn't sound like the Joker. Lord Izo from Avatar, Joker. Hobgoblin from the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s, Joker. If you watch The Last Kids on Earth, there's a character there that sounds like the Joker. But here's the twist. That character is actually a good guy. But because it's voiced by Mark Hamill for the whole season, you're like, that guy's evil. I know it. And then it turns out he's good. You're like, oh, surprise. But they played that for effect because everyone he knows, he always voices villains. He even voices, does a villainous character in Troll Hunters. Guillermo del Toro's Troll Hunters. Yes, right, yeah. That eventually has like a character turn and becomes hero at the very end before he dies, but he primarily does villains. So, and he doesn't do a straight Joker. It's a version of it. He puts some extra panaches and things. I dug his Skeletor. 3 has one of the stupidest, funniest Skeletor lines. A lot of people were like saying, oh, Skeletor wasn't like, come here, you flea bag. He wasn't doing any of those things. But this is a really stupid moment where Skeletor and Evelyn think they've killed He-Man, and they're on a boat, touching a boat, going, I don't know, what if you paint this like a nice marble? Like, it's such a stupid line to have after you've killed your hero. But to me, that reminded me of like silly Skeletor, which is what people are complaining you didn't get. You got it. You got elements of it because this is how the story's going. But I thought that was a really fun episode. I thought it touched all the bases of what you would want in a He-Man episode that you would look for. It touched all those bases. All those check marks were there. Anything I'm missing for episode 3?
No, that pretty much covers that for the most part. Oh, the dogs have something to say too, or the dogs want to chime in?
Episode 4, which is episode 4. Yeah, episode 4 is Scareglow, which we talked about, and I don't know who voiced Scareglow. I think I know who it is, but I don't know who it is. The voice sounded familiar, but I couldn't quite place who was doing which actor was doing his voice. But Scareglow, visually cool as hell, and they did a whole thing where it's a classic episode where they did a whole confront your fears episode, which is fine. So that's just another trope, but it looked cool. You got to know more about Orko. Everyone had a cool moment, and then at the very end when they're escaping, Scareglow tries to double cross everybody and keep them in their underworld, and Orko sacrifices himself to keep Scareglow away to let his friends escape. And at the very end, they make it to an area called Preternia, which is basically like Valhalla for He-Man, and they see Prince Adam there, and that's how episode 4 ends. So once again, and if you know anything about the old series, Preternia is based off the playset of Eternia, which has got a white ivory tower with a lion's head kind of thing, and that's literally what the Eternia place. So I was like, oh wow, they're incorporating toy elements directly into. Come on, dogs! I'm doing it. Come on, silence. They're literally incorporating, instead of the cartoon referencing something so you could buy it as a toy, they're referencing toys already been out to put in the cartoon. Which I think is really, it's once again, it's that synergy that you need to make something happen. So I thought that was fine. I thought that was really, I liked it. And then episode 5, you got to see like so many deep cuts into Masters of the Universe history, where you saw like a Viking He-Man, which is the original sketch that He-Man was based off of, because he was supposed to be a Conan character. You got to see his version, what we call Vicor, and then you got to see Wondar, which is the He-Man that you could order through a Wonder Bread coupon. And, he was never part of the continuity. I think they called him Savage He-Man, but they brought him in, and they brought in the original Gray Skull. You never saw Gray Skull before. Mm-hmm. You got to see him, and it was great. And then, they make it back to Eternia, and Adam takes out because combined when in the I forgot this little part in episode 1, when He-Man was trying to save Eternia, his power sword broke into 2, so they had to go to under Eternia and Preternia to get the 2 swords to reunite it to become the sword of power to bring magic back in, which is like a big reference from like the original mythology of the toys, where you need to get the 2 swords together to unlock Grayskull. So they're pulling like massive lore from all over the place. So they get to doing the beginning, so magic starts rushing into Eternia. Everything is, you think it's saved, and that's when Skeletor kills He-Man / Adam again. This knife in the back, and they did this really creepy shot where you hear the soul going through like his guts, and when Skeletor gets to the base, he just kind of like pushes his head just a little bit over his shoulder, so he sees this green skull in the corner of his eye as he's dying. Like visually, that's terrifying. Like I think about that. Like there's a sword, there's a blade sticking out of your body. You're dying in your corner eye. It's just a grinning skull. Like, I gotcha. Like I thought that was really well done. And then once again, doing something you've never seen before, Skeletor becomes he gets the powers of He-Man. He becomes what they refer to right now as a character called Skelegod, and that's his character. He looks like Super Shredder, basically, but still cool. A cool version of it, but it's very much Super Shreddery. A lot of elements of that, and that's how the series ends, or this half of the season ends. And I thought it was great. I enjoyed it through. I'm a huge Castle Grayskull. I had so many, like, there were very few characters I didn't have. Like I didn't have Zodak, I didn't have Stratos, and I didn't have Fakor. Besides that, I had almost
You
everybody.
had
Like I went
Snakecor for
all the way
Christ's
to
sake.
yeah. I had all the way to King Cobra. Like I went that deep into it. Like I'll tell you how much of a He-Man fan I was. I saw Dolph Lundgren's Masters of the Universe in the theater and enjoyed it. Like that's how young and stupid I was. Where I thought like, hey, why they have toys of these guys? I think all these are great. Like I had none of that. So like I've been in it to win it. So I'm not just a dude who's like coming in going, well, I thought it was cool, but I never really watched He-Man. Like I watched He-Man. I put my money where my mouth was, and I thought this was a fun. I said not perfect. There's some nitpicky stuff about the consistency of the quality of animation of certain scenes. You can pick about a certain like character being played too hard. Or this is their first season in it. I honestly not only am I excited about the second half of the series, I hope they get renewed. Like I would love to see more of this because I liked what I saw. But I do want to see He-Man too. And Kevin Smith has announced that the back half of the season, it's more. I believe I'm quoting him when I say this. You're going to get more He-Man than you ever thought you wanted to see. And apparently, episode 7 or 8 is a massive He-Man Skeletor battle that apparently goes on for way too long and is way too over the top and violent and awesome all at the same time. So you're going to get your He-Man. So just calm down and appreciate what the series is doing, because honestly, there's nothing they did in this series that has done before in a He-Man cartoon. So I'm sorry that change scares you, but it's a fun series and it has a lot going for it overall.
Yeah, and like I said, I just don't get the hate, and it's really coming from the nerd community. Let's be honest, right? And I think Kevin Smith, he's come out and tried to explain himself, but you know me, right? If there's something going on which I would deem to be too woke or whatever the case is, I'm gonna call you out, right? I have no problem with that.
Even if there isn't, Jose still goes
Yeah, I'll
deep
still
on it.
bring
So
it
yeah,
out. There always is, but I'll bring it out. But in this case, I just don't see it. I don't agree with this He-Man emasculated or they're gender swapping. That's not what they're
there's
doing here.
none of
That's
that.
not what's going on here in the least. Believe me, if it were, I would have said that from the beginning. But there's not. And it's not a reason to not like the show. If you don't like it because
Right.
it's too slow or the writing's terrible, so be it, fine, great. We can respect that. But I think they're getting a lot of hate, which is why I'm not concerned about season 2, because, the fans will usually, the viewership will drive this, right? And this kind of negative pub where, I had a friend the other day saying, oh, you heard bad things about it, so he didn't want to watch it. And another friend told me you should watch it. He's like, oh man, I heard they go woke and this and that. And that's the perception that's going on, which is
That's right.
unfortunate. I do not agree with it. Listen, I'm saying it's the greatest show I've ever seen, obviously. It's a fun show. It's a well done show. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait for the next 5 episodes. I liked how it ended with him, scatter God or whatever the case is. I'm curious
Yeah.
to see where they go from here. I trust Kevin Smith for the most part. I don't trust his reviews, but I trust him behind the camera. Um, I love Kevin Smith, but he likes everything. And poor guy,
Yeah,
it's
he really appreciates
everything.
everything.
And okay, but that's neither here nor there. However, when it comes to something like this, I trust in him. He knows the property. He's a fan of the property. I think he did a good job, and it's unjustified. I don't get it. Listen, if
Well,
it's not your He-Man, go back and watch the old shows.
let me once again. It's because we call it honestly. He is not a fan of the show. He's talked about it before. Like he
Well,
doesn't. He's not really into like He-Man, not really into Transformers. But you know what he is into? Story structure.
right.
The guy knows how stories work, why they work. He's into being a comic book nerd. He has 30, 40 years of comic book knowledge and experiences that he can just defer to. Plus, he watches all the Marvel movies. And like I said, he loves everything. So he can see merit in so many things. So
I don't know how
he
he
may
does.
not
I don't know
be
how
a
he does it sometimes, but yeah. But hey,
if you're that well versed in how to tell story, why nerd stories work, the nerd stories that struck you as like these are my timeless stories, you can just default to that, and you can tell a good story about anything. The fact that it happens to be about He-Man, and he's not a big He-Man fan. He's more like surface level He-Man fan. But the executive producer that hired him, that dude is a massive He-Man fan, and he had to run everything that he wanted to do through this guy. And like he told the story, Kevin Smith told the story on his podcast where in the beginning episode they wrote He-Man is on a horse, and he has two villains captured. He's taking them to Castle Grayskull, and the sorceress sees it, and she teleports in front of him and says, "Welcome, He-Man." And he said, "You can't do that." And he's like, "Why?" Like she's just. He goes, "No, you understand. The sorceress is bound to Castle Grayskull. So the only time she's allowed to leave Castle Grayskull, she has to turn into that big red bird.
Oh,
And the
right.
only way she
That's
can be
right.
in
Yeah.
human form is in the. And I completely forgot
Yeah.
about that. And as soon as he said it, I was like, "Oh, that's right, the big red bird. I forgot about it." And but to understand that, you got to understand if that guy was on top about her appearing like 2 inches in front of the drawbridge. Like, you think anything else is gonna slip by this guy? Like, so for people to go, He-Man, would he do that? I'm like, no, this guy who knows better than you knows He-Man would the story could be told like this. So really, it's a much ado about nothing. It's a lot of people trying to make an issue when it's not there, and it's a lot of insincere nerd shows who are banking on getting angry views, or people who like, is it really that bad, and clicking on that just to try to hear something, and leaving a bad taste in a lot of the open pop culture atmosphere of thinking like, oh, it must be woke, it must be. And it really, like, honestly, me and Jose have had hours long debates about whether something was too virtual signaling, or trying to be too woke, or trying to be political or have an agenda. And if I was like all ready for like, let's see what Jose's got to say about this. And for Jose to be like, I don't see anything, I was like, yes, I know, that's the whole
I gotta
point.
call it. You
There's
gotta call it
nothing
how it
there.
is.
It was just a story.
Exactly, and a good story. And I do recommend this show, and I can't wait to see what this next season brings. I think is I just I'm now curious to see what the hate's gonna be next
Yeah.
round episodes, because
Too much He-Man.
people,
What
yeah,
about Tila?
people are tendency not to back down sometimes from their stances. They want to stand on that hill and say no, 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 no. So I can't
Look,
wait.
I'll tell you this, just a little tidbit here. Did you ever watch the Voltron reboot they did on
Yeah, of
Netflix?
course. Yeah.
I
Very
liked it.
cool. Very cool.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I tried to show it to my kids. They weren't really into it. My daughter got into this.
Okay.
My daughter, it took her a little bit. She didn't want. She was like, kind of like, oh, it's gonna be another one of like those Voltrons. I'm like, just shut up and watch this. And after, she's like, oh my god, they killed him. Yeah, let's see the next episode. I think if you can get a kid that has never seen He-Man, she saw some of the filmation, like 6 seconds of filmation, like, this looks old, and she walked away. So to get her into it, to get my son who's 8, who just wants to play Fortnite and watch Minecraft walkthrough videos, for him to go, so like, that's it, the Skeletor, that I go, no, we gotta watch more. It's like, when's it come out? Like, I don't know. It's like, I want to see more. To get these two guys into it, you did something right, because we're gonna die in a couple of years. But these two, like, decades.
Oh, okay.
Calm
Thank
down.
you.
I didn't
Jeez.
mean
You
like
can speak for yourself, man. I
tomorrow.
don't know.
Well,
I know your health condition. Maybe I don't know. You haven't told me.
I have a trajectory I'm trying to get to. but you really want to be able to not only entertain us, but you want to get that next generation in to go, oh, cool, He-Man. I remember He-Man, or I grew up on a He-Man, or. But you gotta hook them. If the animation looks weak, you're gonna lose an entire. Eventually, you'll be 70 years old, going, "Oh, I remember He-Man." Like, shut up, you sexist old man. Like, no, it's a cartoon series. Like, you gotta make. You can't just have your idealized version in your head. You got to move the story forward, as much as you can, and get more people invested. And that's how you do it. You do homage to what you grew up with, what you know, but you push a little forward. It's that false sense of progress, because eventually they're gonna reset to what it is, but it's always gonna be Prince Adam becomes He-Man, Orko, Gringer, and Man-at-Arms knows about it, maybe now Tila. And you have that environment, and Skeletor is the big bad, but Skeletor was trained by Hordak, and then Hordak's ancient enemy is the King Cobra, and now you have the He. It's always going to be that trajectory of things. You can weave in and out, change a few things here and there, but the overall gist of it is that. So don't freak out. Don't make it a big. The next, If it doesn't work out, then we can say I saw all 10 episodes and it dropped the ball, and you can explain on merit of story why it's bad. But to lose shit over 5 episodes of an incomplete story when the 5 are actually really well told and to have a really good narrative, it's a lot of people trying too hard to be angry. Go get a shot.
Please. So on that note, let's leave.
In the
Yeah,
arm and
well,
in one in the
listen,
mouth.
you guys comment below. You guys like the show, didn't like it for legitimate reasons. I'm all ears. I mean, again, everything's subjective. Right? Me and you don't
Yeah,
always agree on a lot of these shows and movies. You don't, and that's
it's
fine.
true.
But again, we have
I'm much more the Kevin Smith of
you're definitely
of our
there.
conversation. I'm more excited, but I whether it's Bad Batch or certain movies, I will call out going that sucked. That was
Yeah,
stupid.
you definitely, yeah, definitely more Kevin Smith. I always say you're like, Coming to America, right? Of course, obviously,
Right.
great Eddie Murphy comedy of the '80s,
First,
not the
first.
American Amazon Prime version. Didn't you hear no that? But you had Prince Akeem who's gonna marry that girl initially, who's
Right.
been trained since birth to be the queen, whatever. That's like
Right.
that's I see you as that, where
Yes,
you're
and I
like
can see
it's
you
like
very much as
whatever
Arsenio
you
Hall. I'm like,
like,
screw that. Just
whatever
take this
Marvel gives
shit.
you,
Exactly.
yes, whatever movies you want to see, yes, hop on one leg, that's you to the movie world. Just saying,
That's
I like
fine.
a little
I'm
pushback,
I,
a little
I'm
pushback.
Prince Akeem. You're Arsenio Hall. I have no problem. That's a great
Yeah.
analogy. I'm gonna add that to my bio.
So that being said, let's end it there. Obviously, you guys, we're starting this up. We've had some guests in the past. I'm hoping we have some guests in the future. We had John Levine, of course, Eric, comedian who was in Loki, right? He played
Yes.
in that good
We
story.
had Peter Santa Maria, who is an artist with Skybound.
Hmm.
We've had Jerry Rocha, who a toy collector and also national touring stand-up comedian who's been on. He's had a special with Netflix and tons of albums out. Very funny dude. And we're gonna bring in more guests as well, but primarily it's gonna be me and Jose, just nerding out about what's coming out, giving our takes on things, reviewing things. If there's anything you liked about the show, let us know. If there's anything you didn't like about the show, let us know. I feel like the best and cleverest comments, good or bad, should have a special place on certain episodes. He goes, let's shout out this person for being really clever and hurting our feelings. And this guy's really clever in showing how.
And we will read comments all day long. If they're good comments, we'll read them on air. Why not?
Oh yeah,
I
we
have no
will.
problem with that.
Anything to escape the reality of our life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So, but that
agreed.
and we look forward to it. And it's something we haven't talked about. Bring it to our attention. Oh, you guys are going to cover this, and we'll talk about that. Listen, it's Nerdsplaining because we love to talk about this, and we love to explain things and really kind of give you the honest observations of not property or a geeky thing, whether it's video games to TV to cartoons to movies and action. Like it's all equal, all fair game, and we all want to talk about it. So let us know what you like. Let us know what you didn't like, and and our episodes coming out once a week. We're still working on schedule, so calm down. But you check us out, and you can also check us out on. If you like the show, you can check out all the past podcast episodes on my website, ericdasilva.com. That's DASILVA because I'm Brazilian and not DE like somebody from like standard South America. Brazil's where it's at, baby. So ericdasilva.com, or you can check us out on Twitter at nerdsplaining _ or you can check us out on Instagram at nerdsplaining pod. We are always posting out there. We'll have more information for you as well, but really appreciate it. Jose, and you also do more than this. So why don't you tell the nice people where they
Yeah,
can
as part of
listen
the
to?
Latin Nerds Network, we obviously got Nerdsplaining, we got the watch lists. We have 3 episodes up, giving you the best of TV to watch on a weekly basis. We'll have a new show starting up. I have my reviews as well. Actually, Eric, I'm going to go see Suicide Squad in 2 days on the 29th, so
Nice.
I get to see it over a week early. So I'm going to put my review on here as soon as I get back home, and me and Eric will
Oh
probably
yeah,
do a spoiler-horrific review of that film. I heard it's bonkers. I can't wait to see it.
yeah.
I'm also gonna put a review of Jungle Cruise, whatever.
Listen,
It may
your favorite
surprise me.
ketchup
I don't know
sauce
what.
is in the movie,
That's
so I
true.
get it.
Movie
I get
ketchup,
it.
The Rock's in it, so hey, it can't be that bad. With that being said, check us out, subscribe, support us, and we'll see you guys in next week probably.
Peace.